The political decisions people make will affect many lives. Many people see politics as the government and the laws being made. While that is true, it's way more complicated than that.
I don't know what type of procedure is this.
Some of you may be aspiring to positions of leadership in the political arena.
And I accepted full responsibility.
But the question is, why do you want to lead?
It has everything to do with you. Every law that is made will impact many. Sometimes the decisions do affect people negatively. Therefore, it's very important to note that every vote that you cast will either break or make people. Politics with GA brings you the latest political news as well as insight and analysis as we discuss the most important issues that matter. Barely 3 months to the 2019 general elections, the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, has said it lacks confidence in the preparedness of the Independent National Electoral Commission to organize a credible poll. Hello and welcome to Politics with GA. The chairman of the party, Prince Uche Secondus, made this known when he received a delegation of the European Union Election Exploration Mission to Nigeria, led by Mr. Nicholas Pauls on Wednesday. Mr. Secondus said every intelligence available to the party showed that the ruling All Progressive Congress had concluded arrangements with the electoral umpire to manipulate the voting process. The party chairman said that what happened during the governorship elections in Osun State underscored the party's fears that INEC is not ready to be neutral. Mr. Secondus said, "Our fear is strong that the APC and the administration are not disposing themselves for peaceful 2019 general elections, and we base our position on the multiplicity of induced crises across the country. With all the unprecedented bloodletting in the country, the president is not engaging the people, and a select group operating as cabals have hijacked the system," he claimed. He urged the international partners of Nigeria, especially the EU and America, to bring their influence to bear on INEC to conduct free, fair and credible elections. The publisher of Daily Nigeria, Mr. Jafar, on Thursday arrived in Kano State to appear before the Kano State House of Assembly to show proof that the video clip he published showing Governor Abdullahi Ganduje collecting a bribe is true. Mr. Jafar arrived in Kano for the meeting scheduled with the Kano House of Assembly committee investigating the bribery allegations against the governor amidst very tight security. A video clip was published by Mr. Jafar, wherein the governor was seen pocketing wads of dollars, perhaps a bribe from one of the beneficiaries of contracts in the state. However, Governor Ganduje has denied the allegation, but the Kano State House of Assembly had on October 15th set up a 7-man investigative committee to probe the allegation. The committee therefore invited the publisher to appear before the State House and show proof that the video is authentic. Mr. Jafar arrived at the State's Assembly complex in the company of his lawyers and with the Holy Quran hanged on his shoulders. Meanwhile, 2 factions of protesters have stormed the State House of Assembly, with each faction bearing placards either in support of Mr. Jafar or in support of Governor Ganduje. We wait to see how this pans out. No fewer than 276 councillors drawn from across 20 local governments and 37 local council development areas in Ogun State yesterday declared their unflinching support for the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress in the state, Prince Abiodun. Prince Abiodun, the governorship candidate of the party, was declared winner by the National Working Committee panel headed by Alhaji Mohammed Indabawa in the 3rd of October direct primaries in the state. The councillors who converged at the campaign office of the governorship candidate at Iperu Remo in Ikenne local government area said they had agreed with the decision of the NWC on the candidacy of Mr. Dapo Abiodun. They noted that as loyal party men, they would go with the party's decision of the NWC on the primaries held in the state. While addressing journalists, representatives of the councillors who were drawn from the 3 senatorial districts in the state said that the National Working Committee had made the right decision and they were ready to abide by it. Speaking on behalf of his colleagues, Mr. Nuruddin Aka pleaded with the state governor, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, to eat the humble pie and support the NWC's decision on the governorship candidate. Besides, They commended the governor for his contribution in building the party in the state and urged him to lead the campaign of the governorship candidate of the party to victory in the upcoming 2019 elections. I spoke with a legal practitioner, Mr. Caleb Oghenetega, about the just concluded primary elections and the state of politics in Nigeria in the run-up to the 2019 elections. The political parties have just concluded their primaries, and it's less than 4 months to the presidential elections, to the election season in 2019. As we move closer to the 2019 elections, what's your take on the state of affairs in Nigeria?
I think we've entered a very interesting period, particularly this year, 2018, leading up to the elections. We've seen a lot more political actors emerge. The last few months have revealed the cracks in the ruling party. It has also helped the opposition party, the main opposition party, the PDP, try to put its house together. But beyond that, it has also created the platform for the new actors to emerge. You know, people are beginning to realize that we are tending towards a two-party system, which is not by itself a bad thing. But the options that the two-party system is giving to us, people do not find palatable. So it has created a need for a third force, so to speak. And so you see more technocrats getting involved, throwing their hats in the race.
Technocratians, they call them.
Exactly.
Technocrats, not politicians.
I would have said that, but I'm yet to see that the technocrats have been able to manage the combination of their technocrat hats and their politician hats.
Because I was going to tell you that even though INEC has over 60 plus political parties on its in its books,
yes,
people still gravitate towards the major two political parties. And why is that?
For obvious reasons. Voters naturally, everywhere all over the world, vote for what is familiar. People struggle with what is new. People like to go for what is secure, even if it is bad. And the classic example is Pontius Pilate, Jesus or Barnabas. And the people went for Barnabas. So it tells you something about the people, that even if you give them what they want, the way they want it, if they're not familiar with it, they won't go for it.
Change is very hard to accept.
It's the hardest thing. So you have to get in the minds of the people over a period of time. It's not instantaneous with people when it comes to voting. They're very sentimental and attached to people who they see regularly.
Now, there seems to be no urgency when it comes to the political class. If you look at most indices that indicate the progress of a country, Nigeria is ranked amongst the lowest, which is quite humbling, if I must say. In the recently released World Bank Human Capital Index, Nigeria was ranked one of the 7th worst countries in the world. That is serious. So, but just yesterday, senators were bickering over sitting arrangements. Why is there no sense of urgency? If you happen to have lived in the 1983 Shagari Awolowo campaign, it's the same issues that we're discussing now, 35 years down the line. No electricity. If you pick up a newspaper in 1983, have we not, what happened? This is a whole generation plus. Why is it that we're so relaxed in the way we are?
It's not surprising. I think there's been a report that also says that in a few years, Nigeria will be the home of the poorest people in the world. We don't have sustainable development plans. We have election cycle development plans. And I find it utterly ridiculous that a government that touts itself as progressive would receive a loot and decide to share it at 5,000 naira per person to what it terms as vulnerable persons during election season. Those are the type of policies that set us back as a nation.
Yeah, but they can also argue that there's vulnerable people using this conditional cash transfers, that he does mean a lot to them, that 5,000 naira.
Yes, it does mean a lot to them, but the question is the method of implementation. And the question that you also ask yourself is...
Is it sustainable?
Is it sustainable? Any program that is not sustainable is a waste. It's a waste of resources. Any program that is not sustainable, that you cannot continue to run, is a waste of resources. So you see that the people we elect into office constantly and consistently do not have a program for growth. They are accidental about leadership. They stumble into the place and start to grapple with things they don't know what to do. So if we can only develop, and you see, what people do not realize is that government is a continuum. It doesn't always have to be your policy. It could be the policy of the last government.
I mean, you could give some credit to the current APC government for completing projects, but people play politics with everything. That did you initiate these projects, you're completing them, and you're taking glory for it. Is it a positive thing in itself?
It's a positive thing that you would complete a project. It's simply an admission that it was a viable project.
Great.
But that also comes to the idea that government is a continuum. I wouldn't expect a politician to complete a project and give credit to the former government. No politician would do that. They're not that generous. Yeah. So, I mean, I would take credit for completing a project, even if it's just cutting the tape. Yes, it's politics. That's part of the politics that we talk about, that people play politics with development, But what is more is, after you cut that ribbon, what projects have you initiated? Because it's not about completing projects people have started. It's about starting projects that others will complete.
And planning for the future.
Exactly. So if you're living in the now and completing what people have done and scattering the others that they have done that you do not like, what other sustainable projects? It is ridiculous that 50 years after, there is no rail line that is safe and secure that carries people from between Lagos to Ibadan. It is ridiculous that there is no rail line that carries people.
They're working on it, it's in the pipeline.
There is no rail line from Lagos to the Seme border. There is so much trade going on. So I don't know. I mean, if we ask the president and the vice president to come on air now, they will tell you so many things that they are doing. Oh, we give money to this, we put money to this. But how many of these projects are viable? How many of them have long-term implications for the people? Education is another thing. You feed people in the schools, but you don't invest in the quality of teachers that they have. That's mockery.
Yeah, and it's holistic. Everything has to go hand in hand.
Yes, it has to go hand in hand. If the quality of teachers, if you are, at the end of the day, you have well-fed, I can't even say they're well-fed because these days when we see the food, it's a worst source of concern. But you have students who go to school to eat, but don't go to school to get taught because they're not getting taught.
Now, Nigerians deserve better. We could have an entire show about things that are not right about Nigeria. It's election season. Politicians are going to come to Nigerians and promise all sorts of things. What are those questions that needs to be asked? Because if you drive around Lagos now, you see billboards and pictures. Beyond billboards and your well-staged photo shoots, I think there should be more that you should tell me, and how do we hold them accountable?
It's interesting that you mentioned the photo shoots because that has become part of our election.
Yeah, I went to Ekiti to cover elections. I went to Osho State. The entire drive, I didn't see industries, no products. It was just guys in agbada or suits. Vote for me. That's all. That's all.
The leaders deliver what the people ask. They don't deliver more.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. If the people don't ask for it, and when I say ask, I don't mean during elections. I mean post-election, the accountability process. If, like somebody said recently, if you employed me to work for you, and 2 months after my employment, I have not asked for my salary, would you run to me to say, oh, come and take your salary?
I think I'll just go on.
You just go on. You're just going to go on. If you pay me the first month and I don't say, thank you. The next month, you don't pay, I don't ask. The month has gone by, second month has gone by, I don't ask. You're not going to feel obligated to continue performing your responsibilities. And that's as simple as it is with politicians. The people are not asking. People are not holding them accountable to what they should do.
But was witnessing a different type of, if you look at the politics in Nigeria, you said that people are not asking, but more people are throwing themselves out, like, look, I want to take this power. I want it. As at the last count, 26 candidates are contesting for the highest office of the land. Is this a good thing for democracy, or have we seen the office of the presidency and contesting as a business venture, as some has seen it? And why do we focus too much on the presidency? There are other positions.
I tell people that the candidates are just as ignorant as the people that they try to lead. Many people who are running for the office of president have no business there. I mean, in my opinion, the current president has no business in the presidential villa. If he had run for the office of EFCC chairman, he had my vote. Some people who are running for president should be running for the Senate. There is a misconception as to how people can make a difference in society. And people see the presidency as the only place. Yes, the presidency is allocated so much power that will make anybody want to go there. But so is the Senate. If the people who occupy those positions know how to effectively use their powers. Suddenly the president has gotten there and has been issuing notorious executive orders. Now, this is something that we have not really been used to in the past.
True.
Somebody just needs to understand the role that an office performs. Go in there and perform that role. There are many candidates, and I don't want to mention names, who are running for this, and I'm asking myself, do they understand the requirements of being president? The Constitution says that you must win 2/3 votes in 2/3 of the states of the Federation. If you have not reached 2/3 of the people in 2/3 of the states of the Federation, or even half of the states of the Federation, how do you think you will be president?
It's an exercise in futility.
It's an exercise in futility. And it's an act of deception on the electorate, because you are creating false hopes.
Yeah, and then you're making the ballot sheet unnecessary.
Unnecessarily, and then somebody who's going to... Look, in the end, it comes down to two people. I don't know who those two people are right now. And maybe I do, and it's my personal opinion. And I'm sure you believe you know who the two people are. The viewers know who the two people who are going to contest that election are. The other people should ask themselves, are we doing the right thing by running for this office? Would I be most effective as a president, or as a governor, or as a senator, or as a local government chairman? Many of them have no political track record, which is okay. But then I then ask you, how valuable have you been to your immediate community? What value have you added? Let's forget that you are not in politics. Okay, leave politics aside. But the things that make up the development of the people, don't tell me that you conduct speeches and you create awareness on social media. No. What direct impact have you made on the people? Because if you cannot make this impact in a small community where you are supposed to be or can qualify as local government chairman, what makes you think you can meet the needs of 2/3 of the states of the Federation?
I mean, of this complex...
It is such a complex
country,
constitution of people. So you need to understand what is at stake.
It's serious business. Now, finally, Caleb, before we go, what are your expectations towards the 2019 elections? Will they be fair and fair? And would they deliver a new crop of politicians that will take Nigeria to the promised land?
There are two things that can make, that can determine whether the elections are going to be fair and fair. First, the past antecedents, and the second will be the voters. Ekiti, Ondo, Osun don't give me any hopes that the election will be fair and fair. The APC presidential primaries gives me a lot of concern about the freeness and fairness of the general elections, because it appears to me that nobody is performing their oversight functions over the political parties. Is
the press doing enough? Sorry to interrupt.
The press is not doing enough either. The press is complicit in this. The press is not asking the right questions. Or maybe they are, but they're not staying on the questions. And that's the difference between the Nigerian press and the Western press. The Western press will sit on the issue till there's a resolution. And it's surprising that APC produced a number, 14.8 million people who voted in their primaries. And nobody has questioned it. Nobody has asked for a list. Nobody has asked for evidence. Maybe INEC has it, but I don't know. It's just worrisome. And a couple of days ago, the ruling party's spokesperson in Lagos, Mr. Igbokowe, was on national television, and he didn't make allusions to the fact that if a certain candidate won the elections, they were not going to hand over.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if that is a joke.
That's a dangerous thing to say.
Yes. So I mean, it tells you that there are many things at play for 2019 elections. The last factor is the electorate. If the electorate really wants a change, the proper thing to do will be to vote en masse. What happened in Osun State was evidence of the power of the will of the people. If a group of people come together and say, we've had enough of this, we want to vote these people out, you need to do it en bloc. You need to do it resoundingly. It's not enough to just do it. You need to do it resoundingly, because it strips the other party or the other person of the powers to rig the election. Yes. When the margins are wide. But when they are close, it's easy. So we'll call on the federal government and INEC to remain committed to free and fair elections. Whether they do it is another thing. We also call on the press to stay on the salient issues as they come to light. Yeah. Stay on them, so that the people, the stakeholders, know that people are watching. When nobody has questioned APC, so they've carried on. That matter has been sorted, and you will see the manifestation in the election. And then it behoves on the people, whoever you decide to vote, make sure you're not exercising your vote in futility. Make sure that you are voting for a candidate that has the capacity to fulfill the constitutional requirements of winning the election. Don't just vote for somebody that you like. Vote for somebody that you know will meet the constitutional requirements of being declared the winner of the election.
On that note, I'd like to say a very big thank you to you, Caleb Oghenetega. It's been a pleasure having you on Politics with GA.
Same here.
A French appeals court ruled on Thursday that former President Nicolas Sarkozy should stand trial on charges of illicit financing of his failed 2012 presidential campaign. Mr. Sarkozy would appeal the decision before the Cour de Cassation France's Court of Final Appeal, his lawyers said on Thursday. It is one of several legal inquiries which have dogged the politician since he left office. In upholding last year's decision by a judge to put Mr. Sarkozy on trial, the appeals court in Paris rejected arguments from his legal team seeking to avoid a potentially embarrassing public ordeal of a trial, as well as up to a year in prison if found guilty. Prosecutors claim Mr. Nicolas Sarkozy spent nearly 43 million euros on his lavish re-election bid, almost double the legal limit of 22.5 million euros via fake invoices. Mr. Nicolas Sarkozy has angrily denounced the charges, saying he was unaware of the fraud by executives by public relations firm Gbenga, who are also facing trial alongside accountants and former officials of his UMP party. His defense team had also argued that the politician had already been sanctioned for campaign overspending by France's Constitutional Council in 2013. But that ruling involved just 364,000 euros of overspending and came before the revelations of the Gbenga affair and fake billings. Gbenga executives, as well as Jérôme Lavrieux, the deputy manager of Sarkozy's 2012 campaign, have acknowledged the existence of fraud and false accounting. Mr. Nicolas Sarkozy was president from 2007 until his defeat by socialist rival François Hollande in 2012. The right-winger has been fighting legal problems on several fronts. He is also charged with corruption and influence peddling for allegedly offering to help a judge obtain a plum retirement job in return for secret information about another case. The inquiry gave him the dubious distinction in 2014 of being the first French former president to be taken into police custody. He has also been charged over accusations by former members of Muammar Gaddafi's regime that he accepted millions of the slain Libyan dictator's cash for his first presidential campaign in 2007, charges which Mr. Nicolas Sarkozy has vehemently denied. Ethiopian lawmakers on Thursday appointed the country's first female president. Sahle-Work Zewde took the oath of office in the largely ceremonial role, calling it a step towards Ethiopia becoming a place to live in equality. She said if the reforms we have started are led in equal measures by both men and women, the country will forget poverty and backwardness and move towards prosperity. Ms. Sahle-Work said, according to Bloomberg, our citizens without difference in gender, ethnicity, religion, or any other factor will call Ethiopia a place to live in equality. Sahle-Work's appointment comes after a government overhaul led by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed that includes appointing women to half of the government's cabinet posts. The former ambassador and the United Nations Special Representative replaces former President Mulatu Teshome, who abruptly resigned this week. Sahle-Work is now the only female head of state in Africa. After taking the oath of office, she spoke to Parliament and vowed to focus on gender equality and peace. Thanks for watching Politics with GA. Until next time, I'm Gbenga Aborowa. The political decisions people make will affect many lives. Many people see politics as the government and the laws being made. While that is true, it's way more complicated than that.
I don't know what type of procedure is this.
Some of you may be aspiring to positions of leadership in the political arena.
And I accepted full responsibility.
But the question is, why do you want to lead?
It has everything to do with you. Every law that is made will impact many. Sometimes the decisions do affect people negatively. Therefore, it's very important to note that every vote that you cast will either break or make people. Politics with GA brings you the latest political news as well as insight and analysis as we discuss the most important issues that matter.